Hello loves, it's your girl Aggie, aka Nurse Ag. Welcome back or to my channel if you're new here. I will be addressing you guys' assumptions about labor and delivery in nursing. So I asked on my Instagram stories a while ago what assumptions you have, and if you don't already, definitely follow me on there. That's how you can keep up with my day-to-day activities. I'm definitely a lot more active on Instagram than I am on here, unfortunately. So let me go ahead and pull those up. For those of you who don't know, I am a labor and delivery nurse of 3 years now, and I'm also a family nurse practitioner student. So let's hop into these assumptions, shall we? Okay, so the first assumption is labor and delivery nursing is the most rewarding specialty in nursing, in my opinion. Well, I might be a little bit biased, but I would definitely say this assumption is true. You literally are able to be a part of bringing in life into this world, which is so cool. The whole process of labor delivery is very vulnerable and can be emotional for families, and to be a part of that special moment is very rewarding. Not to mention, unlike other specialty areas, you actually get to see the fruit of your labor. That means you labor with the mom, you manage their medications, help them navigate this whole experience. And at the end, you have a goal of having a healthy baby and healthy mom. And to actually see that come into fruition is very rewarding. All right, the second assumption is it's hard for new grads to be hired in labor and delivery. And they have the sad face emoji. So this is actually somewhat true, but it's not impossible for sure. The reason why it can be hard for new graduates to find a position in labor and delivery is because, one, a lot of units want experienced nurses, and two, because a lot of labor and delivery nurses, they stay in that specialty area, so there's not that many openings. But it's definitely not impossible. In fact, I got hired as a new graduate L&D nurse, and a lot of my coworkers did. So I have a whole video explaining how to get hired in a specialty area, specifically labor and delivery. It's my very first YouTube video. I will link it down below for you to check out because the tips and advice still apply. So check that out if you haven't seen it already. Okay, another assumption, that the nurse-patient relationship is different compared to other specialties. Well, this is kind of hard for me to answer only because I've only worked on labor and delivery as a nurse. However, I can imagine that yes, this is true for two reasons. One reason is because our relationship is so short-term with our patients and very intense and emotional, whereas in other specialties it might be more like of a longer, drawn-out relationship. For example, in medical surgical nursing, you can be put with the same patient over the week for every shift. So I might work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on medical surgical, and I'll be put with the same patients, and that kind of allows that continuity of care. Whereas in labor and delivery, the patients are only there for 1 to 2 days, maybe 3 days, and then they get, the transition to postpartum nursing where they get taken to another nurse. However, the relationship is, like I said, very intimate. It can be very emotional because the nature of the specialty area is very emotional, and it's our responsibility as the nurse to educate them and to empower them through that process. So yes, I would say the relationship is very unique in that way. Another assumption is you do most of the work / catch most of the babies. That's a fun assumption. So I will say yes and no. Yes, we do most of the work. Labor and delivery nurses do a lot of work, okay? And patients are often struck by this. They don't realize how much a labor and delivery nurse is involved in the whole L&D experience. But I wouldn't go as far as to say that we catch most of the babies. So as far as doing most of the work, we do everything from admitting the patient to doing cervical exams, starting IVs. We labor the patient. What I mean when I say we labor the patient is we're managing their medications they're getting to literally cause contractions, or we're initiating different position changes to help progress labor, or we're doing intrauterine resuscitation, which basically means if the baby's heartbeat goes down at any point during labor, we're doing different interventions to get it back up to its normal baseline. And then we help, with the delivery of the baby. We help clean baby off after delivery. Some labor and delivery nurses even help with the baby's initial head to toe assessment, giving the baby its first medications. So yes, we do a lot of work, and this does vary depending on what hospital you work at. I know at teaching hospitals, the residents are a lot more involved. They'll do the cervical exams. There's some hospitals that have IV teams, so you might have help in those areas. But in general, yes, labor and delivery nurses do most of the work. Okay, it could be difficult transitioning as a medical surgical nurse into labor and delivery nursing. That's a good one. So I would say yes, it could be difficult. I have coworkers who have transitioned into labor and delivery from medical surgical, and some of them absolutely love it and some of them absolutely hate it. I wish I had like a percentage to tell you which ones like succeed in labor and delivery and which don't, but from what I have been able to observe, the ones that struggle with the transition, the reason why is that they feel like labor and delivery is a little bit too intense from what they're used to in medical surgical, as far as like the acuity of patients and what's expected of you. Whereas in medical surgical, you definitely still have a lot more on your plate. I mean, a lot of times you're juggling up to 6 patients at a time, which I cannot imagine doing in labor and delivery. We had at most 2 patients at a time, but like I said, they're very acute. Yes, it can be difficult transitioning, but like I said, I do have some coworkers who transitioned smoothly and who love it. Another one is, do they take care of the mother and baby after birth and before labor? So this depends on the hospital you work at. At my job, we only take care of the baby for 1 hour after they deliver. And then after that, we have a whole baby team that steps in and does the baby's full head to toe assessment, gives the baby their first medications, does the baby's weights and measurements. And then after that recovery period for mom, then the mom and baby get transitioned to the postpartum unit, where they'll be for about 2 days, 2 to 3 days, depending on if it's a vaginal delivery or a C-section. Now, I do have some friends who are travel nurses, and they say at other hospitals that they are responsible for doing the baby's like head to toe assessment, all that jazz. And there's some places that the labor and delivery nurse becomes a postpartum nurse. So those are usually at smaller hospitals from what I know. Another assumption is that it's comparable to the ER due to the unpredictability. I would say this is true. Labor and delivery is very, very, very unpredictable, and that makes it exciting and fun. You can have anything walk through the doors, from a mom who's about to blow out a baby to a mom who might feel like, you know, they're having a lot of vaginal bleeding, to mommies that feel like they haven't felt baby move in a while. Moms will come in that are complaining of like headache and blurred vision and other complications of pregnancy, or high-risk pregnancy rather. So yes, anything can walk through the doors at any time, and I love it for that reason. It's very exciting, keeps the night moving right along, and keeps me awake during the night shift hours. So I would say it's comparable to the ER for that reason. Okay, this one is interesting. Not mine at all, but I've been hearing L&D nurses lack critical thinking skills. This is absolutely false. Labor and delivery nurses have to have critical thinking skills. That is definitely like on the top of our list, because we are responsible for so many things. We often have a lot of autonomy. So in practicing safely and giving safe care, you have to think critically. There have been times when I've literally have caught a placental abruption just based off of the fetal monitoring strip, which basically reads the baby's heart tones during labor. And sure enough, the provider comes by the bedside. In this instance, it was actually a C-section, because she was a repeat C-section. They were able to confirm, like, yes, you're absolutely right, Aggie, this mom was abrupting. And had I not been able to figure that out or notice that on the monitoring and have those critical thinking skills, then it could have led to bad outcomes. So this is absolutely false boo. Labor delivery nurses have to have critical thinking skills, 1000%. Okay, I've been told I should get a job in med search first, but I know L&D is where I want to work. Well, girl, let me tell you something. If labor and delivery is what you want to do, if that's where you want to work, then go straight into it. Do not waste time doing medical surgical nursing. I know I've got that same commentary whenever I was first starting off, that you have to have this broad range of experience that medical surgical can afford you. But my opinion is that where you have the most interest and the most passion is where you will thrive. Yes, there'll be a big learning curve, but that's in any specialty area, and that's why they train you as a nurse. Nursing school does not prepare you to be a nurse, period, point blank. The training on the job, the residency program, is what prepares you. So I say go straight to it if that's what you want to do, and if there is an opportunity for you to do that. That it might be difficult to work your way up. So I don't know if I really understand this one. This might depend also on your hospital. At my job, I would say no. We deliver a lot of babies at my job, and we have a large staff, nursing staff. So it's actually not very hard to work your way up. After that first year of working, I started being a preceptor on my unit. I started working as a team leader, which is basically a nurse that helps other nurses with their patients. So no, I don't think it's hard to work your way up. I wouldn't say so. What do you think? Are you a labor and delivery nurse? Let me know down below if you think it's hard for you to work your way up in your specialty area. I'm interested to see what you have to say. So that concludes all the assumptions I'm gonna go over. Thank you guys once again for sending them in to me on my Instagram page. Like I said, follow me on that platform if you don't already, and I will see you guys on the next one. Deuces.